Can you really buy a wife for $35? That's the kind of headline that makes you freeze, your mind racing with disbelief. It's so outrageous, so unexpected, that you can't help but read it twice, just to make sure you saw it right. That headline is designed to shock you. It's crafted to grab your attention instantly, to make you gasp, to make you click. $35. Less than a night out at the movies, less than a pair of sneakers, even less than a fancy dinner for one. The number is so small, it almost feels like an insult. The idea is absurd and deeply offensive. It's the kind of statement that makes you recoil, that makes you question what kind of world we're living in. It's the kind of claim that makes you stop scrolling, wondering if it's a joke or a dystopian plot. But this isn't fiction. This is a real rumor, spreading like wildfire across the internet. It's a rumor that's spread online, often linked to places like Kyrgyzstan, a country many people know little about, making it an easy target for sensational stories. The phrase, "buy a wife," is dehumanizing. It strips away individuality, turning a person into a commodity. It reduces a person to a product, a price tag. For $35, that's not just a number, it's a statement that erases dignity. That's not just offensive, it's demeaning. It's a headline that wounds, that lingers in your mind long after you've read it. Headlines like this make us think of human trafficking and exploitation. They conjure images of people being bought and sold, of lives reduced to transactions. But is that what's really happening? Is the truth as simple or as horrifying as the headline suggests? Or is there more to the story? Is there a deeper context that's being ignored, a reality that's far more complicated? Headlines are built for outrage, not nuance. They're designed to provoke, not to explain. "Buy a wife for $35 is clickbait at its finest. It's a phrase engineered to go viral, to spark debate, to fuel outrage. It plays on our fears and curiosity, turning a complex issue into a soundbite. It makes us react before we even understand. We live in a world of hot takes, where the truth is often buried under exaggeration, where the loudest voices drown out the most thoughtful ones. So before we judge, let's ask, what's the real story behind this headline? What's the truth that's hiding beneath the outrage? We're going to dig deeper, beyond the outrage, beyond the clickbait, beyond the easy answers. This journey will take us across cultures and into traditions that are centuries old, into communities with their own values and histories. It's not a simple story of good or evil. It's a story woven from history, economics, and human relationships. It's about people, customs, and how easily things get lost in translation, how a tradition can be twisted into a headline. Behind that $35 price tag, there's a much bigger, more human story, one that deserves to be told with care, understanding, and respect. You want a simple answer, just tell me, is it true or not? That's what we all crave, right? A quick yes or no, something we can file away and move on from. But the world isn't black and white, it's full of color, nuance, and shades that don't fit neatly into boxes. The most interesting stories are always complicated. They're layered, messy, and sometimes uncomfortable to untangle. So, stick with me. Don't scroll away just yet. There's more here than meets the eye. Understanding this isn't just about debunking a rumor, it's about empathy, about challenging our assumptions, and about seeing the bigger picture. Imagine seeing a guy covered in tomatoes, looking like he's had a rough day. You might think he's a victim, until you learn he's at a festival in Spain, surrounded by laughter and celebration. Context changes everything, doesn't it? The $35 wife story is like that, except the stakes are much higher, and the consequences reach far beyond a single event. The headline is the messy photo. We need to understand the festival, the culture, and the people behind it. When we share headlines like this, we shape how people see entire cultures, sometimes without even realizing it. We risk painting men as villains and women as victims, fueling prejudice, stereotypes, and misunderstanding that can last for generations. These narratives have real consequences. They influence opinions, policies, and even how we treat each other in everyday life. So, staying to the end is about respect for the people at the heart of this story. It's about giving them the dignity of being understood, not just judged. Let's unpack the facts, explore the traditions, and listen to the human side. There's so much more beneath the surface. By the end, you'll have a new lens for the next sensational headline, a way to see past the noise and get to the truth. maybe we'll all be a little more connected in this complicated world. So grab a seat, and let's dive in together. The real story is just getting started. You won't want to miss what comes next. Let's trace the rumor's roots. The $35 wife myth is tied to Kyrgyzstan. The number comes from an old, low legal fine, once the penalty for bride kidnapping, not a price for a person. Bride kidnapping, or alakachu, is a real and serious crime, not a quirky tradition. It involves abduction, coercion, and immense social pressure on women. The $35 was a pitiful fine for this crime, not a purchase price. Laws have since changed, but the outdated number stuck online. So, the claim is a toxic mix of misinformation, a real crime, a misinterpreted fine, and cultural ignorance. The result? A headline that's dangerously misleading. It distracts from the real issue, violence against women, and replaces it with a false, transactional narrative. This is how a grain of truth becomes a mountain of lies. Let's set the record straight. If the $35 myth is false, does money play a role in marriage traditions? Yes, but it's not what you think. Enter kalam, often called bride price, but that term is misleading. Kalam isn't about buying a woman, it's a gesture of respect and commitment from the groom's family to the bride's. It's a formal negotiation, not a cash-for-person exchange. The payment can include livestock, goods, or money, meant to help the new couple start their life. It's about joining families, not making a purchase. The tradition is supposed to show honor and responsibility. Problems arise when demands become excessive, turning a symbol into a burden. But the original intent was never to put a price on a person. It's a social contract, not a sale. Calling it buying a wife misses the point entirely. These customs are complex, rooted in respect and alliance. Let's not reduce them to a price tag. Exchanging wealth at marriage isn't unique to Central Asia. It's global. Bride price means the groom's family gives to the brides. Dowry is the opposite. Dowry was meant to empower women, giving them assets and security, but in many places it's become a demand, leading to debt, abuse, and even violence. There are other variations, reciprocal gifts, or bride service, where the groom works for the bride's family. These customs were about alliances, social status, and stability. But as societies change, symbolic gestures can become financial burdens. What was once about respect can turn into a cold transaction. The consequences can be devastating. Traditions evolve, and sometimes they get twisted. We need to understand the difference. It's easy to talk about money and tradition, but what about the people? Imagine being a young woman whose marriage involves a bride price. It can be a source of pride and security, or it can feel demeaning, like being treated as property. For young men, the pressure to pay can be overwhelming, delaying marriage or leading to desperate acts. These are not just transactions, they're life-changing moments, full of hope and anxiety. The real stories are about love, duty, and fear. A father may see the bride price as honor, not a sale. A mother may worry her dowry isn't enough for her daughter's happiness. Reducing these experiences to a shocking headline erases their voices. We owe it to them to look deeper. Let's listen to the people, not just the numbers. Traditions change, but when they collide with modern pressures, they can become harmful. Dowry demands have bankrupted families and fueled gender discrimination. Bride price can turn women into commodities and create power imbalances. The original intent, respect and alliance, gets lost in the pursuit of money. Some young people are fighting back, pushing for symbolic gifts or joint savings instead of cash. They want to reclaim the spirit of tradition, not its corrupted form. The challenge is to keep what's meaningful and discard what's harmful. Cultures are wrestling with these questions right now. Change is possible, and it's happening from within. So, can you really buy a wife for $35? Absolutely not. The idea might sound shocking or even amusing, but it's simply not true. That claim is a myth, born from a misunderstood fine for a crime, not a price for a person. It's a story that's been twisted and repeated until it sounds believable, but it has no basis in reality. The real story is about ancient traditions, symbols of respect, and the ways these customs can be misinterpreted or even manipulated over time. Marriage rituals are deeply meaningful, often representing love, unity, and family ties. We must approach these topics with humility and curiosity, not judgment. When we encounter unfamiliar customs, it's important to listen and learn before forming opinions. It's easy to condemn what we don't understand, but real change comes from within cultures, not from outsiders. True progress happens when communities reflect on their own traditions and choose what to keep or change. We can and should oppose abuses like bride kidnapping and dowry violence, but we must do so while respecting cultural context and supporting those who are working for change from within. Our job is to support local voices, fighting for justice and equality, amplifying their efforts rather than speaking over them. The $35 wife myth is a warning about how misinformation spreads quickly, especially online, and how easily facts can be distorted. Always question headlines and dig deeper. Don't accept viral stories at face value. Look for the real facts behind the claims. Every culture has a story worth understanding, and every tradition has layers of meaning that deserve respect and thoughtful exploration. Next time you see a shocking claim, pause and ask yourself, what's the real story here? What's the history and who benefits from the myth? The truth is almost always more complex and more human than the myth. Real lives, real families, and real histories are behind every headline. Let's seek understanding, not just outrage. By choosing curiosity over judgment, we can build bridges and learn from one another. We started with a shocking headline and ended with a deeper understanding of culture and dignity. These aren't just distant stories, they connect us all. The conversation shouldn't end here. There are countless headlines that mislead and traditions that are misunderstood. The only way to understand is to keep asking questions and sharing what we learn. Join our community, subscribe, follow, and be part of the conversation. We'll keep exploring stories that challenge and connect us. Your voice matters, and your perspective is valuable. Comment below with your thoughts or topics you want us to cover. Every share helps build a space for real stories and real understanding. Let's keep the conversation going.